been 85 #1 overall draft picks in NFL history, and every successful one has shared the same singular characteristic. Insane talent? Yes, but more importantly, an ability to solve problems. Insane talent can breeze you right through high school and college, but the smallest cracks in your armor, the little tiny areas you aren't a freak of nature, is what could ultimately be your NFL downfall. The players who can solve these problems are the ones who become successful, the ones who chip away at their biggest flaws until they eventually make them their greatest strengths. The projected #1 overall pick, Michigan's Aidan Hutchinson, has all the talent in the world, but there are problems and questions, specifically about his technique, he'll instantly need to answer. In his senior year with the Wolverines, it was the offenses that needed answers. The 6'6", 265-pound defensive end's 15 sacks led the entire nation. He had 55 quarterback hurries, which was good for fourth, and tacked 10 TFLs onto that. At the Combine, his 20-yard shuttle and 3-cone finished in the top 6, which should be noted, that includes every position, cornerbacks, receivers, guys who weigh 80 pounds less than him, so he has high-end production paired with legit freak athleticism, but there are still some of those problems that I mentioned. What are his strengths, and what are those problems? Surely his hygiene isn't a problem. Ugh, it's a terrible transition. Because he probably uses this week's sponsor, Manscaped. Manscaped is a men's grooming company that is trusted by more than 4 million men worldwide. They provide premium tools and formulations designed specifically for below-the-waist grooming and hygiene, but now they're changing up the game. Their ultra-premium collection all-in-one skin and hair kit covers you from head to toe, and it's awesome. To kick it off, you start with the Manscaped 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, which smells great, has no grease, and is ultra-hydrating. Then we move on to the Body Wash by Manscaped, a premium daily shower gel scented with Manscaped's refined cologne, which is infused with aloe vera and sea salt. And once you hop out of the shower, they then hit you with their ultra-premium hydrating body spray, which both hydrates and dries you to make your skin feel great. And finally, to bring it all together, you throw in the Manscaped Ultra Premium Deodorant, my favorite, and their lip balm so you feel A1. To check all of it out, go to manscaped.com and use promo code Rollins for 20% off your order, plus free international shipping. That's 20% off plus free international shipping with promo code Rollins at manscaped.com. Thank you to Manscaped, and now let's get rolling with what Aidan Hutchinson is good at and then figure out where he struggles. He is a speed rusher through and through. He has an explosive get-off, has an incredible motor that's running 24/7, he's gritty, he's smart, and he has a burning competitive fire. He wins more with speed, agility, and quickness than he wins with power, and all good speed rushers have to be excellent at using their hands, which is how Hutchinson makes a lot of his biggest plays. His playstyle is extremely similar to the Bosa's, where he predominantly uses finesse hand-fighting moves that he adjusts to however the O-lineman is blocking him, which the Bosa's call side scissors. The initial move is a direct sprint right at the tackle to hold him in place and get him to shoot his hands. Basically, he's trying to make him think this is a bull rush so the tackle will protect himself. When Hutchinson gets him to punch, he uses both his hands to swipe or scissor those hands out of the way, and as they say, if you beat the hands, you beat the man. Unlike the Bosa's, he'll occasionally add a little extra fluff to side scissors. Where the Bosa's are a bit more robotic in how they set their moves up, Hutchinson is willing to add an extra step, almost like a wide receiver setting up a corner to get the tackle off balance, and then he'll go back to the inside when he's opened up some space. One of my favorite things about him is how freaking smart he is. Like, this guy studies his ass off, and you can tell. There were multiple plays against Indiana where he literally called them out for running power before it happened. He saw something in the guard's technique, or the tackle's alignment, or something. The tight end is supposed to block him here so the guard can pull through to hit the linebacker, but since Hutchinson wins so fast, the guard has to hit him, and the backer is free to run up and make the play. He's able to do that from studying film during the week, but also from studying the film during the game to make adjustments. If you examine the game close enough, you can pick up patterns in the offense. Here he's the BCR defender, which stands for bootleg, counter, reverse, meaning Hutchinson can't just fly upfield when the run action is away from him because he's the guy responsible for setting the edge. And as Belichick says, if you don't have an edge, you don't have a defense. Usually the BCR player holds his position outside until he sees the running back doesn't have the ball, but here Hutch flies directly upfield almost from the moment the ball was snapped. How'd he know what was about to happen? Let's jump back to midway through the second quarter, where he notices Michigan State's offense has the running back behind the QB in a pistol alignment, and the tight end is right in front of him. When he sees the same run action away from him, he plays a much more typical BCR technique where he keeps his hips squared to the line of scrimmage in case there's some sort of reverse or something like that. Once he sees it's a boot, he flies upfield and brings the ruckus, which now takes us back to our first play where the formation and alignment of the offense tips him off. When he sees the running back again in the pistol and the tight end motioning over to him, he anticipates what's coming, kinda doesn't play BCR since he knows what they're doing, and just flies upfield for the sack. He has the smarts and the quicks to justify being the number 1 overall pick, but the problem area in his game that he'll have to overcome could overshadow everything else. I don't buy too much into combine measurements, but when his arms are just 32.5 inches long, which is in the 7th percentile of DNs, and then that shows up on film, that is a problem. His shorter arms can inhibit his side scissor moves, since when O-linemen get their hands on him first, he doesn't have the reach to consistently get those hands off of him. He plays almost exclusively in a 9 technique outside the tackle and does better in space, but often when he's jump set by the O-line, where instead of kicking back vertical, they're immediately taking the party to him, he's not as effective with his counters since he has less time to react and can't push linemen with his arms when they've engaged him. When he tries to set up his outside side scissors by going in first, look how off balance Jared Horst is right before he throws his punch. Hutchinson kinda misses with his punch, and even though Horst just has one hand on him and doesn't have his feet set or any kind of base to him, once he sinks his hands into Hutchinson's pads, he doesn't have much of a counter or push with his arms to solve the problem. This is the issue with Hutchinson, and with all speed rushers really, who don't have effective counters once their more finesse type like moves aren't working. Once again, he's getting jump set, now from the other side by AJ Arcuri, and since Hutch sees those hands out, he goes back to all reliable outside side scissors, but because Arcuri is jump setting him and getting his hands into his pads, even though Hutchinson has picture perfect hand placement on the outside of that elbow, he just can't get off the block with Arcuri's hands inside of him. This isn't to say he's never been able to solve the problem. He's flashed answers before. He'll just need to produce consistent answers to justify his draft position as the 1 overall pick. He can use speed to power, which is a move that starts outside as a speed rush targeting the corner to make the tackle overset, then turns into a bull rush. And Hutchinson understands the angles, timing, and leverage that are necessary to win on the rip by using a half-man advantage. The idea behind half-man is that instead of attacking a bigger body head-on straight down the middle, you only attack a half of the player since all their power and core reside in the center of their body. Even though this video details his primary area of concern, he did flash one rep that showed me he's capable of overcoming this problem. Here the tackle is once again jump setting him. Hutchinson knows he's going to get quick hands, so he goes back to outside side scissors, really his favorite move when he's getting jump set. But watch this time. The tackle gets his hands into his pads and side scissors doesn't work, but here he adds a rip move where he brings his arm straight into the air to disengage the tackle's hands and burns right past him. Comboing moves together is a good sign for a lot of different reasons. It shows an understanding of what's happening in the down, how the offense is trying to block you, and how you can react in real time to find an answer. And this shows that Hutchinson's at least identified what's going wrong when things do go wrong. There's one little tiny thing I don't really think is a big deal at all. Quick, easy fix when he gets to the league, but he has this habit of taking a false step right off the line. Whoever drafts him can clean this up pretty quickly in my opinion, but if it persists, rushing the passer is all about burst and speed off the line. It won't matter how good you are or how many scissors you're swiping, you take a false step and you won't be very effective. The last little issue I have with him is pretty nitpicky, but he doesn't really win super quick off the ball like you see his teammate David Njoku do at times. My thinking is that Hutchinson's a speed rusher, so you'd like to see him get to the QB instantaneously on at least some of his sacks, but that's not really something I'm too worried about, just something to monitor. His technique is really good on almost all of his plays. He's explosive, twitchy, moves at a really high speed at all times, has a great motor and lots of polish in the way he plays the game, and yeah, he's really smart. While I think he has identified his problem of struggling to disengage when linemen hit him first, just cause you know your problem doesn't always mean you can fix it. It's promising that he's already putting reps on film of him coming up with some pretty damn good solutions, and by all accounts, he has a burning desire to be great and work his ass off. There have been a lot of number 1 overall picks who have struggled and failed to adapt and overcome their problem, but there are also some of our game's best players who rise to that challenge and become some of the greatest ever. The signs point to Aidan Hutchinson joining that list, so right now is the time for him to turn his problems into answers.